Ukraine says its forces have shot down more than 200 Iranian-made drones in the last few weeks. Both Iran and Russia deny that so-called kamikaze drones used in Moscow's aerial bombardments have come from Iran. But the West says there's mounting evidence this is the case. Use of such drones would violate a UN resolution curbing Iranian weapons exports.
This is a scene that Ukrainians have grown familiar with. A kamikaze drone flying over their heads in the center of the capital Kiev that police try to shoot down with machine guns before it crashes into buildings. Though Iran denies selling such drones to Russia, Kiev says Moscow resorted to Iran-made Shahed 136 drones to attack Ukraine's energy and civilian infrastructures. The unmanned aircraft is one of a series of drones made by Iran. With a wingspan of 2.5 meters, it can carry 40 kilograms of explosives. It's classified as a loitering munition, as it can stay in the air for hours until a target is found. Then it zooms in, becoming a missile that destroys itself on impact. Military experts say they've been rebranded Garand II by Russia and used extensively to carry out strikes across Ukraine, such as here in the northeastern city of Kharkiv. Compared to missiles, the Shahed drones are cheap, 20,000 euros per unit. Ukraine says Russia has ordered 2,000 more. Their use represents a new challenge to Ukraine's air defense, even if they report having shot down over 220 drones over the last month. The kamikaze type flies low, can be sent alone or in swarms, and can cause considerable damage.
Arthur Holland-Michel, a senior fellow at the Carnegie Council and the founder of the Center for the Study of the Drone, is widely regarded as one of the world's leading drone experts. He gave us his assessment of what we're looking at here.
Well, as the report said, we're looking at a fairly rudimentary weapon system. It doesn't carry a lot of explosive, but because it flies very low to the ground, it's hard to detect on radar. A lot of them do actually get through and can hit targets, and they've had a tremendous effect already in the last few weeks that they've been used.
What are the challenges that such drones pose relative to, say, more conventional weapons such as shells or missiles?
Well, conventional air defense systems have had many decades to respond to those sorts of traditional weapons. Drones represent a novel threat. The systems aren't really designed to detect them, to track them, and indeed to shoot them down. What Ukraine has relied on is a kind of patchwork of different detection systems, visual observers. They've even relied on fighter jets to try and chase these systems down. They have had some success in shooting down a couple of hundred of these systems, but the cost of shooting down these very cheap drones has been very, very high for Ukraine, in the millions of dollars. And because Russia can launch them in large numbers, not only are they incurring a cost on Ukrainian forces in terms of the weapons they have to use, but also there's always a probability that some of the drones of these swarms are going to be able to get through and hit their targets.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's interesting that Russia has only recently started using those drones. What do you think, what does it tell us about the state of the Russian army, that they appear now to have shifted to a strategy that actually relies heavily on drone attacks?
I mean, it may show some signs of, for example, the reduction in reserves of other equivalent weapons like cruise missiles. I think we're somewhat limited into how much we can read into what it says about the other kinds of weapons that Russia is using, but it certainly shows that they have access to a capability that didn't really figure in their force structure at the beginning of the war. If they are able to continue accessing these drones in the same numbers, that is going to be significant unless Ukraine finds a even more and perhaps cheaper way of actually defending against these systems. It could have a lasting effect, I think. And because Russia can launch these systems from pretty far back, I mean, they have a range of up to 2,000 kilometers, even if they get pushed further back by Ukrainian counteroffensives, these weapons can continue to reach deep into Ukrainian territory.
Right. Well, it's a pretty scary scenario, certainly from the Ukrainian perspective. I mean, how might the use of these drones change the dynamic in this war? What does it do to the people on the ground?
Well, it's precisely the fear factor. You know, drones compared to other weapons, not only are they very effective, but they also have a kind of psychological, emotional impact on the world stage. You know, they're good for creating headlines, for shaping the narrative, for, you know, showing that Russia is an advanced force that's able to sort of sow chaos. Of course, it is able to do that, but it's already been able to do that with other conventional means of warfare. So if Russia's able to continue these types of drone attacks, then these attacks are going to continue to be in the news. People are going to continue to be talking about them, and that could have a profound effect on, you know, the overall narrative of the conflict and how it's evolving.
All right, Arthur Holland Michel, Senior Fellow at the Carnegie Council. Thank you so much for your time.